Well, in another development in Iran, authorities have announced they will be installing smart cameras in public places to identify women who are unveiled and not observing the country's strict dress code. For more on that, here's Azadeh Mashiri.
The mandatory hijab has been at the centre of protests in Iran ever since 22-year-old Mahsa Amini died in police custody after she was arrested for violating the country's strict dress code. Now, it led to protests around the world and across the country. It even led to some women burning their veils during those very same protests. But it also led to something else. Women developed a laxer attitude towards the mandatory hijab. It wasn't unusual to go to a big city in Iran, like Tehran, the capital, and see several women walking around the streets unveiled. It also led to law enforcement hesitating in how they would respond, given the protests in the country were growing. But that's changing. Iran's law enforcement has now announced that they're installing smart cameras on streets in order to identify women who are violating the mandatory hijab law. They also said that they would send warning messages to the violators of the hijab law and violators of public decency. Now, this follows a recent incident in Mashhad where a man poured a tub of yogurt over the heads of two women who were unveiled. All three were arrested. Here's a reminder of that moment that was caught on CCTV. Now, the issue of the hijab was never something that the Islamic Republic was going to take lightly. And that's because the hijab is an important symbol of the Islamic revolution. It's when the country physically started to look different. It's when a country where women had choice turned into a country where they don't. These smart cameras signal that not only is the mandatory hijab here to stay, but it will be heavily enforced.